Hey folks, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be installing a backup camera on the Supra, but it's not any normal backup camera. It's got a few tricks. Let me show you what we're doing. So the Supra is the only car that I have that does not have a backup camera. I don't want to cut up the wiring. The car is all original, so we're going to be installing one of these. Now, I've had two other backup cameras on this channel, and every time at some point in the comments, somebody makes a comment about, usually if you can back up a car, you shouldn't need a backup camera. My question to you is, why are you online looking up installation videos of backup cameras unless you're just here to troll me? In which case, go down below and troll me. See what I come back with. Now, this camera is pretty cool because it can do a lot more than just a backup camera, so we're not just going to be putting it on that car, we're going to be putting it on a few other things as well. So this camera is completely wireless. The camera here has a battery in it that charges to the end via USB. Now, if you want, you can add on a solar panel that will keep this thing continuously charged, but Auto-Vox claims that this thing will run for 7 months with the charge that's in it, and it'll actually run 7 hours continuously if you wanted to run the camera continuously, and I'm going to show you why you might want to do that in just a second. Now, the other cool thing is you can pair more than one camera to the monitor. I have a second camera up here, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that in just a second. So let's get into installing this, and I'll show you what's kind of neat about this camera. So let's run through all the parts real quick. This is the camera itself, and the camera itself mounts to your license plate bracket. It is completely wireless, so you don't have to tap into your backup lights or anything else. And the monitor is this guy, plugs in and gets power from your cigarette lighter port. When you turn on your car, this thing activates, connects to this, and shows you what's behind you. Now, a neat little feature is you can also push one of these buttons over here and have it continuously on. So if you wanted to use this as a camera for the back of your trailer, you could also do that. The solar panel, like I said, is an add-on, but you can get that, and then it'll keep this thing pretty much continuously charged. And you won't have to worry about taking a cord out to this or pulling it off your car. Now, the installation literally couldn't be simpler. Screwdriver, all you need. You're going to take off your license plate. You can even retain your old license plate frame if you want to. Place the camera right over the top of the frame. You put your screws back in, everything lines right back up. Now, if you're interested in picking up one of these cameras, I do have links down in the description below, as well as a link to a less expensive camera video if this one's a little out of your price range. Now, from here, depending upon what angle you want to see, you can turn your camera up or down. We're going to aim it down a little bit because I want to be able to see the bumper of my car in the view, so I can see if I'm going to hit anything. Now let's go put the monitor up in the front. Now, every car is different, so you need to pick the right place for you, for where you're going to mount your display. Now, the display here comes with a 12-volt connector. It's going to plug into your cigarette lighter port. You do want to have this accessible, and there's a little button on the back. I'm going to show you what the button does in just a second. It also comes with a suction cup to put on your windshield. Now, in my case, I'm going to mount it in the middle. You may want to mount it over here. I'm going to put it in the middle because this is going to travel between this car and my truck, and I'm going to show you why a little later on in the video. Now, before we mount this, I do want to let you know that I have a second channel, the Car DIY channel. We're moving a lot of our automotive content over there, so if you're into cars, you want to see more on the Supra or any of our other cars, go over there and subscribe. I'll have the link at the end of the video and down below for you. But right now, let's get this thing installed. This is a really nice suction cup. It actually is already sticky, but it has a little lever on the back. We're going to put it right there in the middle of the windshield and snap the lever down. Now, moving further down the dash, I'm going to be removing my cigarette lighter and plugging in this adapter. Now, I'm going to be just kind of tucking the wires and not routing them because this is going to move between this and my truck, and it's not going to live in here forever, depending on what car I'm using. Now, if this is going to be more of a permanent installation for you, you're probably going to want to route it up and behind, and they do actually give you this little connector. It allows you to disconnect it, so you can run the wire behind your dash and then connect it back together once you're ready to go. So let me show you how this is all going to work. So now if you were in a parking lot, you got in the car, you go to start the car. The screen gets power from the ignition and it syncs up with the camera. And there we've got our live view right out the back. You can see our bumper right across the bottom right there. Now, if you are out driving and you want to activate that and it's not on because it does have a timer, you can hit the little button right here on the cigarette lighter adapter and it will power on the camera for you if it isn't already powered up. What's nice about that is also if you're going down the road and you just want to check what's going on behind you, you can hit that button at any time and that camera will come up. You can also set it to run continuously and it'll run for up to 7 hours continuously on a full charge. So if you have an obstructed view at the back, say you're using a pickup truck and you've got a full load and you want to see out the back, you can do that. Now stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to show this camera in some real world scenarios. I'm going to show you how I'm using it and we'll show you some night shots so we can see how well it does in dimly and not lit parking lots, because I noticed this thing doesn't have infrared LEDs on it, which some of the wired ones do. So I'm curious to see how well it does in full darkness. But now let's check something else out. Let me show you the real kind of thing that I'm nerded out about this camera with is this thing over here. My truck. My truck already has a backup camera on it, but when I'm running my bike rack full of bikes, the image I see at the back of the truck is this. Not great. So I've got something hanging way off the back of the truck, expensive bikes on it, and I don't want to crunch them. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mount a camera to the back here. The other cool thing, which we'll be doing in another video, so you want to check that out, it will be linked down below once it's out, is I'm gonna be putting one of them on the back of my trailer. I'm gonna mount the camera there, but because my trailer is backed to my house, I'm going to mount the solar panel on the side here facing south, so it always gets charged when it's parked in the driveway. But right now, let's get this thing installed on the back of the bike rack and see how it performs. Now, as you can see here, I actually got lucky. I was not expecting these holes back here to line up. I was expecting to have to drill them, and then I was gonna have to pick up some hardware down at the hardware store, but these will actually work. So I'm just gonna attach the camera just like this. And now I've got a camera installed right there on the back of my bike rack. That is pretty cool. Now, because I might as well, we're gonna take one of the solar panels here, and mount it on up. And the solar panel is secured in place with the little screw. There's actually a screw already on the camera. You're gonna undo it and then thread it in through the top there. That'll hold everything in place so somebody can't just grab the solar panel or the entire camera and slide it off the mount. So notice there is a little bit of excess wire here, and that's so you can mount the panel elsewhere. I'm going to do that on the trailer. When I mount it to the trailer, I'm going to mount it to the side of the trailer to get a little bit more sun. But right now it's just going to be back here. You could zip tie this if you really wanted to. I'm not going to worry about it. One thing to note is when you are hooking up the other panel or charging, this little cap piece is also the antenna. So when you take it off, do not lose it. You're going to need this or the whole thing's not going to work. So now here's my view out the back of the truck with the bike rack on it and the bikes. And here's my view with the camera mounted on the bike rack. So now for those nighttime shots. It is very dark out and we've got really no lights in our front yard except for the taillights of the car. And we're gonna use the taillights of the car and the reverse lights because I wanna make this as fair of a comparison as possible to if you were in a dark parking lot backing up. And we wanna see how well we can see the front of the car that is parked right behind it. So let's hop in the Supra and key on that screen and see how well we can see things. All right, so we are inside the Supra and you can see there, that is what it's picking up with the camera without the reverse lights on. That's just with the running lights on, not even with the brake lights. I'll hit the brake lights right now. So that's with the brake lights on, but no reverse lights. That's with the running lights. And now I'm going to turn on the reverse lights. I'm gonna have to put down the camera just a sec to grab the shifter. So there is the image with the reverse lights on. Now that's with the reverse lights on and the running lights on, but no brake lights. Let me hit the brakes. You can see it gets a little bit brighter, a little bit redder, but not much of a change. And now with the brakes off, running lights on, and reverse lights on. So you can see even without having those little infrared LEDs like some of the other cameras have, it does really give you a pretty good image of what's going on behind you, so you're not gonna be backing up into stuff. Now, one thing that's worth noting is the little battery up at the top, and it is completely full. Now, this car has been parked in the garage for the last 2 weeks with the door down, and it has not really moved, so it hasn't had a chance to charge up. So this thing's been sitting on the back of the car idle for 2 weeks, and it hasn't dropped any juice. So I hope that helped answer all your questions about this camera. I do have a link for it down in the description below if you want to check it out. Now, like I had mentioned before, I did want to do the trailer back there, and it's going to be a little bit of a delay because, well, one of those bikes over there decided to pitch me over the bars and mess me up pretty bad. So it's going to be a while before we're back out in the desert riding dirt bikes. And in that video, that's when I'm going to do the trailer, because I want to make sure I do it right and get footage of it actually going down the road to make sure everything does work correctly. But you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and also my other channel, the car DIY channel, because that video is probably going to show up on that channel instead of this one. Now, if this video helped you out at all, please give it a great big thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of it. Maybe you got some neat, cool installation ideas that you're going to do. And of course, thanks for watching.